Mercedes-Benz winter event is back with the perfect vehicle that's just right for you, no matter which list you're on.
Come on! No one on Santa's naughty list really got a Mercedes last Christmas. But while you were opening your gifts, guess what the guy who founded Mercedes-Benz of Austin was supposedly doing? He was torching the business next door to the dealership.
Sure looks like you got your man. I mean,
Certainly,
when it's on video, you can't deny that.
Certainly appears so.
The damage at 500 Pampa on Austin's north side was contained inside the place. Investigators knew it was arson, but who was the firebug? On March 8th, they got a hold of the surveillance video, and they saw a white Mercedes, just like this one, parked outside.
You see his vehicle parked, you see him get out of the vehicle and go inside because he actually started the fire inside the building. So we do not have video from inside of that building. The video we have for Pampa Drive is from the exterior.
We didn't know about this fire when we first brought you the story of Austin's alleged arsonist, Bryan Hardeman, the 75-year-old auto dealer and real estate developer who's now being called a serial arsonist because he's been busted again, now out of jail on more than $160,000 in bonds, accused now of setting at least 4 fires in the Austin area. Fire Captain Jeff Dean, he's seen his share of firebugs.
A lot of our serial arsonists or people who light multiple fires, they seem to be sort of a random pattern.
But not in the case of Bryan Hardeman. Investigators say he had a plan.
In this case, these did not appear to be random. There's a lot of commonalities in these fires and the events that led up to them.
This was Hardeman's mugshot after his first arrest back in February. Charged then with burglary and arson for the fire at this old bike shop downtown.
Earlier in the year, he had attempted to purchase that property. The sale did not go through for whatever reason. Potentially, there could have been some sort of motivation there.
They had security camera footage the fire department won't let us show you. But when they saw the video from Pampa Drive, well, they knew who it was.
Those were common circumstances in both of those properties, the 400 Nueces and the Pampa Drive. He had previously attempted to purchase those properties and was unsuccessful.
Hardeman was also supposedly unsuccessful, getting the last 2 remaining tenants to leave this trailer park that he owned at 4811 South Congress. So what did he do? The fire folks say he tried to torch that place too. Not once, but twice.
This had been kind of an ongoing, long-term dispute between the few residents who remained on that property and refused to leave.
On February 20th, Hardeman had actually been caught in the act by someone who lived there, we now learn.
One of the victims walked around the trailer park, the trailer home, and saw Mr. Hardeman standing there with a gas can in his hand. He had his cell phone out and he was video recording Hardeman standing there with the gas can.
The property is owned by a company called 4811 SoCo LP and managed by a guy named Justin Bain, who ignored our calls for comment. But what did he know about all this?
So he was trying to burn them out.
Essentially, that's definitely a possibility as far as his motive was to do that.
And the criminal charges, they could continue to mount.
Breaking news out of South Austin. A major fire. Firefighters arrived at the scene to find heavy smoke and discovered that there were combustible products inside the building.
Folks in Austin remember the fire that shut down Congress Avenue just a block away from the trailer park. It went up in smoke about 3 hours earlier than that fire and about an hour and a half after the bike shop fire. There was $1 million in damage in that blaze. Hardeman hasn't been charged, but don't be surprised if it's declared arson too.
That is an ongoing investigation.
Is Hardeman a prime suspect in that case?
We haven't ruled him out at this point.
I don't give a shit.
That was Bryan Hardeman talking tough back in May 22. Video captured during that ongoing fight over some of the capital city's biggest real estate developments.
We've tendered the amount due. It takes that payment by law.
Companies linked to Mr. Hardeman stand accused in multiple lawsuits of illegally seizing up to 8 properties owned by another Austin real estate developer, Nate Paul.
I've never personally encountered any situation like that.
But Hardeman is faring a lot better in Austin's civil courthouse than he seems to be with the fire department arson division. In fact, he seemed to suggest back then that he had buddies in the courthouse.
Go around and go find you a court in this building to come and stop this.
Okay.
Why don't you try that?
Democratic judges in both Houston and Austin have simply refused to make rulings that will help Nate Paul expose his allegations of real estate fraud. This was a rare interview with Nate Paul in Austin.
If you're operating in a society where the rule of law is not being followed, that's a scary place to be.
How much are these court rulings political? Paul, you remember, was at the center of that failed impeachment of Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton.
Can I ask you some questions about your client, Bryan Hardeman?
No, thank you. I'm not commenting on Bryan Hardeman's case. Thank you.
Has he told you why he set those fires?
Only his attorney showed up for a court date this week, but Mr. Hardeman is getting a pretty good deal, if you ask us, for a guy accused of already setting at least 4 fires over 2 months. He's no longer required to have a mental health evaluation or to have GPS monitoring, even pretrial supervision. But he still could face a long prison term if convicted, and arson investigators aren't done yet.
These are still ongoing investigation, and there still is potential for additional charges.